Hello and welcome to When Grooms Get Engaged, the podcast about a guy's perspective to wedding planning from two guys that are currently trying to survive their own. I'm Steve.
And I'm Chris, and each week we will talk about how we navigated a different part of the wedding planning journey, what we learned in the process, and what maybe we'd wish we had done differently. So Steve, what are we talking about this week, and how do I get a six-pack?
Chris, this week we are talking about looking and feeling great. And Chris, the way you get a six-pack is really quite simple. You just do sprints all day, you eat 5 calories, and you just never look at a carb for the rest of your life. Like,
It's
honestly,
that
simple.
easy?
That's all it is, man. It's just,
Wow.
listen, gyms hate me for revealing the secret, but it is that easy. So yeah, we're going to talk about essentially over-encompassing looks. We're going to focus on the clothes. We're going to focus on, your fitness. We're going to focus on your hygiene. Just kind of some things to think about so that you can look and feel your best come the wedding day. And
You are spending so much money on this big day. You better look and feel your best. So we'll have some tips and tricks for you.
yeah, and just real quick, just because we are giving you these tips and tricks doesn't mean that we ourselves are implementing them. I know I am guilty of being lazy at sometimes, even if I know what I should be doing. And, life gets in the way, right? So for a lot of these things, it's more of whatever you put into them is kind of what you're going to get back from them. Like, you got to give yourself time. You're not going to work off 20 pounds in a month, in a healthy and sustainable way.
Yeah, that's very true. And yeah, as you said, it's going to take some time, and it takes time to get into a routine, right? So you need to do this consistently over a period of time in order to get it kind of ingrained into you, and make sure you make going to the gym a priority, or whatever it is you choose to do. Like, a lot of people just like running, or they might have their own house set up. So whatever works for you, whatever you found works for you in the past, dust off those old weights and get cracking.
Yeah. So Chris, let's start off with the gym. Like, we've all been to the gym, there's a million machines, there's a million workouts, there's a ton of stuff to do. But Chris, do you have a core group of favorites that you think is just most effective?
I think strength training is probably the most effective and efficient way to kind of, one, shape your body, and then two, also lose weight, right? And what I mean by that is, like, when you focus on the large muscle groups in doing different exercises, you can also, even if you don't necessarily lose a lot of weight, you can change the way your body looks, so that it looks better. Even though you might have only dropped 5 pounds, you look like you dropped 10 or 15 because you started rebuilding yourself in a way. So, some of those would be just the big muscle groups you all think about. So back, chest, thighs. So deadlifts, squats, all the old school stuff, that you learned in high school. Go for those to kind of kick off this health routine. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. The big compound exercises that kind of work multiple groups at one time. So, your barbell bench press, incline or flat bench. Your deadlifts, I think, are probably the single best workout you can do in terms of getting a wedding body, because they're going to work your posture as well, which, if you have a nice posture, is going to be great for you. They're going to work your shoulders, right? Your traps, your lats, all that stuff. So you're not just doing one thing. You don't want to just, don't get me wrong, biceps are nice. By all means, do them. But if you can do them, while doing a pull-up rather than just isolated curls, that's going to be your best bet.
Curls for the girls?
I mean, they do like the arms, right? and Chris, body weight stuff, there's nothing wrong with it either. If your workout ends up being 100 push-ups a day, you're still going to get results. You're still putting in the work. You'll still reshape your chest to something nice. You just got to put in the work. That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah. You don't necessarily have to all do it at once too. I mean, you'll probably get maybe slightly better benefit by doing it that way. But you can spread it out to start with, especially if you don't want to buy a gym membership or you don't have a lot of equipment, use those body weight exercises, push up, pull ups, squats, those body weight squats or holding, anything kind of like semi heavy, do like goblet squats, can be very beneficial. Your favorite exercise, the burpee.
Just, okay. So real quick on this, I have two minds on these exercises. I think specifically just for your wedding day, your push-ups, your pull-ups, and your deadlifts are the most important ones because they're all things you see, right? Your push-up, it makes your chest nice. It gives you that nice, big, flat chest. Your pull-ups, it gives you, the big biceps, but also works your shoulders and your lats. And your deadlift kind of like fixes your posture a little bit, which when you're standing up there are the things that people can see. Like squats are great. Don't get me wrong. You work on your glutes, you get your ass a little bit bigger, but your giant legs, all that's going to do is just going to make finding a tux kind of a pain in the butt. So, do your squats. Absolutely. But I think like these three will just make you look the best just for that one moment, but maybe I'm like thinking about it too much.
And, these are the good things to like focus on, but obviously you can incorporate a lot of different exercises into your workout routine, especially if you give yourself a lot of time, right? If you're in a time crunch, focus on these, but incorporating cardio or running or, just like sports, right? Like whatever you have fun doing, whether, it's like tennis, volleyball, spike ball,
spike ball's amazing.
Doing the sports that you love can also be beneficial because like, it just makes like working out a little bit more fun, right? Maybe though, word of advice, don't do the, you can't prevent an accident or an injury, but just kind of be smart about what you're doing so that you're not like breaking your leg, a month before the wedding. So just be careful.
Oof. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, stay active, right? Like these
don't
are just
do
the
too
things.
Much too fast, right? Like,
don't do too much too fast. Exactly. And there's also like, you don't have to be doing 5 miles a day. Honestly, just getting out there and walking, if you give yourself 6, 7, 8 months, you will be surprised at what that does to you. Just being active, like don't be a couch potato, don't be sedentary, just move and don't discount walking.
Yeah. And make the small decisions, right? To be a little bit healthier too, can just add up over time, right? Like choose to take the stairs when you can, right? Or, there's a lot of, I think a lot of advice out there lately where before you kind of eat or drink anything in the morning, like trying to go on like a 15 to 20 minute walk at a decent pace can be like super beneficial and really like kickstart your metabolism. Obviously, we're not doctors. We have no medical degrees, but just from having gone through these processes before and having worked out, I think we both consistently for a long time, just some words of advice.
Yeah, is this the Huberman protocol, right? What does he say? He says like 5 minutes of direct sunlight or something, 30 grams of protein, like the walk, or I don't know. It's as I've gotten older, like all these bro sciencey things, I think they end up working just because they like limit your ability, your time, allowed to like make bad decisions. Like we're gonna get into the diet because like let's be honest, you can't work out a bad diet.
Mm-hmm.
The body's made in the kitchen rather. And you hear like intermittent fasting, you hear these things like 30 grams of protein as soon as you wake up, and I honestly think all it comes down to is when you limit yourself, you have less of an opportunity to make terrible decisions, essentially, which would in my case would be McDonald's every time.
That's your go-to?
Oh, Chris, I have the app, and it's so annoying because the app has constantly the offer, which is free medium fries if you spend $3. And if I know that all I have to do to get free fries is add an apple pie to whatever, you bet your ass I'm going to get that apple pie and my free fries every single time. And then before you know it, I'm 1,000 calories in of just crap I didn't need. But it tastes so good.
It is delicious. But what you said is very important. At the end of the day, you need to be in a calorie deficit. I mean, I think there was a couple things or videos online where someone basically just ate ice cream every day, but did so in a controlled way to be in a calorie deficit. So like he only ate ice cream. And again, like I don't know how rigorous this was, as much as you can believe anything on, YouTube or whatnot, but, basically ate ice cream, and was in a caloric deficit and lost weight. I don't know how healthy that is in the long run. It isn't very, but it just shows the importance. Like you can eat even like junk food, but being in that calorie deficit is so vitally important. So just again, watch your portion sizes, watch that sugar intake. Sodas are like the hidden sugar vehicle, right? So just start trying to cut those out.
The worst thing for you is liquid calories. Because it doesn't feel like you're actually like consuming anything. You don't get full from them. But a can of Coke or a 20-ounce bottle is what, 240 calories? Like 60 grams of sugar, which is an insane amount. Iced tea, which, it's tea, so it's healthy. Ooh, it's still 100 some odd calories with, again, a ton of sugar. Like, if you're not going to change anything about your diet and just replace every sort of liquid you consume with water, you will be surprised at how much weight you lose and how much better you feel.
I mean, drink those fruit juices, but just be controlled, be controlled about it, right? Smaller portions. If you pour yourself a tall glass of orange juice, it's probably got like 5 oranges in it. There's no way you would just sit down and just eat 5 oranges back to back.
No, not even close.
You can drink that down in, like 5 minutes, right? So that's just like the hidden sugar content. So, fruit juices and sodas, just be careful. Obviously, whole fruits are great, but watch the liquid calories.
I love apples. They're pretty filling. But yeah, liquid calories, try to cut them out if you can. And Chris, I know for me, like I said, I am very wishy-washy on my diet and fitness. I go in and out. Life just gets in the way. It is what it is. But I'll tell you that when I'm on, what I've noticed works for me is intermittent fasting. Specifically, I try not to eat past 7 p.m. That's really my only hardened rule, essentially. Anytime I eat past 7, I end up eating past 7 and then I just keep snacking and then I go to sleep and I wake up and I feel terrible. But if I cut it off at 7 p.m., I feel great the next day. Always works for me. I've also noticed that if I wait to eat breakfast until, I don't know, maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, again, I feel great. Like I don't, because the worst is eating too much food and you just like groggy and you feel just like disgusting. But if you just save it and like work out in the morning, like to me, that just feels so good.
Yeah, if you can start your day with working out, I am not a morning person and I find it really hard to work out in the mornings. But when you do it, I feel it does like kind of kickstart your day. And you kind of feel energized most of the rest of the day. So, it's something I've definitely tried to do, but I found that working out right after work is the best for me. I can just make that a more easy routine for whatever reason. But I find it important to like bring my gym clothes, have everything with me, because if I go home first and then go to the gym, I'm likely not making it to the gym. So it's better to just go straight there, get that workout in, then go home. Just to not give yourself an excuse to not go.
Yeah, exactly. Find out what works for you, what works best, but definitely put some time in to work out, to just, recomposition your body, make it look better. Watch what you eat and eat less of it. And you'll be it'll get you 80% of the way there.
Exactly.
Honestly.
And that's what you're looking for. And I think also what you said though, is like not eating too close to bedtime as well is probably very important. You hear all those stories about how actors like put on weight for certain roles. And like, that's always like one of the biggest ones is like, they would just like pound a pizza and then go to bed. Right.
How good does that sound though?
It's the life, right? So just, watch out because your metabolism slows down when you're sleeping and it's probably just going to turn to a lot of fat as you're sedentary for, 7-8 hours. But that does bring up a good point, though. Getting into maybe the hygiene discussion for us is like, I think something that we may struggle now in our modern age is just sleep hygiene, right? Making sure that you're finding time to disconnect. You're not doom scrolling at 2 a.m., that you are setting up bedtime, trying to be consistent about that bedtime, just to make sure you get that restorative REM sleep.
Yeah, so I actually spent a good amount of time just kind of like tinkering with different ways to sleep. And what for me feels better is, again, I heard this on Huberman, so, just go there. Actually, stop listening to it. Just listen to his podcast. He'll probably give you the same advice. But what I did is I actually slept with taping my mouth shut so that it just forces me to breathe out of my nose. And that sounds a lot scarier than it actually is because the tape barely holds your mouth together. You could easily open it if you needed to. But I found that definitely helped me sleep better. And there's like tons of studies that talk about how if you just breathe through your nose, you get so many additional benefits because that's, I guess, what we're supposed to. And Chris, I think I remember when I was reading these studies and like hearing people talk about this, when we were younger, do you remember getting like insult would be a mouth breather?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's kind of where this comes from. Like instinctively, if you breathe through your mouth, like you're doing something wrong, which is wild. Like that those two kind of correlate in that way. So try that out if you haven't. It's scarier than it sounds. It actually feels pretty good.
I have not done that. I don't know if I'm on that bandwagon just yet.
Just give it a minute. A couple failed nights sleep and you'll get there. Other things are magnesium. People recommend that. I've tried melatonin. I don't like it. It just makes me like groggy and sleepy, but doesn't actually put me to sleep. So it's the worst of both worlds, essentially.
Interesting. See, I react well to melatonin.
Oh,
so
do you?
I really like that. So I definitely use that to help as part of like, my wind down period, right? Just like a smaller dosage, maybe about an hour before I'm thinking about going to bed. Just to kind of help myself wind down. I don't think it's an addictive like vitamin or like I think it's hard to get used to it, right? Like you don't have to just like keep upping the dosages or anything like that. But I know that they recommend like if you use it consistently for like 2 weeks, you should take like a couple of days off just to make sure you're kind of resetting those levels. But it's like a natural hormone that your body produces to help you fall asleep. Just note that some people do have a reaction and it can cause vivid dreams. So just be careful that that's a possible side effect. I've had some vivid dreams, but like haven't had any like night terrors or anything like that would cause me to disuse it.
Well, hey, I mean, if it works for you, if it helps you get those 6, 7, 8 hours of sleep, that's good. Because if you don't get enough sleep, you may be eating the best diet, you may be working out, but without enough sleep, you're not, giving your body everything that it needs to make the most out of those. So
it's actually like really important because like that's how your body heals. That's how your body grows. So like you need the sleep. Like you can pound all the protein you want, but without sleep, your body's not going to be able to chance to put that to use.
Yep, exactly. So work on your sleep. Try and get at least 6 hours. People say 8 in this day and age. Like that's not always going to be possible.
Shoot for 7. Go for 7.
If you can get 7, more power to you. That's amazing. The next thing is, this one's obvious. Take a shower. Stay clean. But the reason why I bring this up is because, Chris, did you know you're not supposed to shampoo your hair every day?
I've heard that, but I'm also not on that bandwagon yet.
So I've just gotten on that bandwagon. And I will tell you, my hair feels much better. Like, it was weird at first because, I would work out in the morning 3-4 times a week, and I would always like shower and shampoo my hair. And the first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, my hair's gonna be disgusting. I've been sweaty. It's not. Honestly, just like with water, whatever you need to like wash off will wash off. And then your hair just stays smoother. I shampoo my hair now maybe like once every 5 days to a week. And it feels so much better.
Interesting. I'm not sure I'm going to try that, but all power to you for it.
Chris, come on. If you aren't going to take the advice of this podcast, why should anyone else?
You just got to find something that works for you, right? You don't have to take all of our advice.
Yes. Personally, I don't shampoo my hair every day. I kind of like it. Next up, Chris, have you ever gotten a manicure or pedicure?
I have gotten a manicure before. anytime recently, but I'm considering that for the wedding. Never did a pedicure. Don't like people touching my feet, but yeah, I'm thinking about getting a manicure. And then, how about you?
I have never gotten either,
Really?
but again, like I forgot who. I think I was talking to this to my brother-in-law. He mentioned that he got it. And he was like, "Yeah, this was really nice." I was like, okay, maybe I'll think about it. So I might actually, like, when we go to Greece, I might just book one there. Because why not? It is my wedding. But on the same point, Chris, do you by chance bite your nails at all?
Ooh, I am not a nail biter. I usually keep mine pretty short, but that's never been a bad habit of mine for whatever reason. So,
Ooh,
is that something you struggle with?
I am a notorious nail biter. Have been since I could remember. It's just like I'm bored, I'll bite my nails. I'm stressed, I'll bite my nails. I'm hungry, I'll bite my nails. I'm in certain emotional state and I'll bite my nails. And I just can't get out of it. But I bought this like nail polish off Amazon that tastes terrible. It's like a very strong bitter taste. And you just apply it to your nails. It lasts for about a week or so, and makes them taste so bad that you don't want to bite them anymore. So if you guys do struggle with biting your nails, I recommend getting this so you stop. Because you're gonna be putting a ring on your finger. Like there will be a tension on your hands. You don't want to have little like nubs for fingernails showing on those pictures.
It's a good tip. One that I would say that I'm more likely to do is obviously the face masks. I think are kind of relaxing. You can do them at night. Just pop on an episode or two of whatever show you're watching, and just have those on. Can be really nice. And also considering getting some light makeup done on the wedding day just to make sure that I'm looking my finest couldn't hurt.
Interesting. Are you getting makeup done?
I'll probably get like a little touch up. Yeah.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
Just probably like some base foundation and just like a little bit of, I honestly, I don't know, but just like a little bit of foundation just to kind of make everything look even and, healthy.
Huh. That's so, I didn't even think about makeup. Maybe I'll ask whoever's doing my wife's makeup to be like, hey,
yeah, just
bring that brush over to these cheeks, do what you got to do, make it look good. But actually, while we're on the skin routine, Chris, I remember, I don't know, this must have been a month and a half ago. I went to my then fiance. I'm like, hey, baby, can you help me with the skincare routine? And I cannot begin to tell you how happy she was. It was like a fun little bonding moment.
Exactly.
So, I mean, yeah, ask your fiance what she does for her skincare routine and, copy what she does. Take some of her steps. Like, ask her for help. Because as guys, man, we're lucky if we like wash our face with soap, let alone anything else.
That's good advice. Yeah. Just learn from them. Yeah. And as you said, it could be a bonding moment. So that's like really cool. I like that idea.
Have you asked your fiance about her skincare routine?
I haven't asked exactly. I don't follow her exact routine, but I have been known to dip into the expensive eye cream here and there. So got that going for me.
Oh man, Chris, when I was in Korea last year, I bought my fiance like Korean skincare stuff, and she loves it. Unfortunately, it's so expensive. so it's like we're always like on the lookout for when it's on sale, so we just like stock up and have it just ready, when it runs out. But yeah, some of this stuff makes a difference. It really does. It's crazy.
Yeah, and apparently also I read an article recently too that like a lot of the European and Asian countries have better suntan lotion than us because in America, the FDA classifies suntan lotion in a specific way. And it has to go through like so much testing. And because of that, and like the regulations, like it hasn't really been updated, or like you're not able to use like all of the like newer chemicals that are supposed to be like much better for you and more restorative. So if you're traveling abroad, you might want to bring some suntan lotion back to, also protect your skin during the summertime.
In general, the FDA and USDA in the US is so far behind the comparable regulatory bodies in Europe. The food that we eat is garbage in comparison to what's available in Europe and, Asian countries. It's insane. Just, it is what it is. I'm glad you brought it up. If you go to Europe, enjoy the good stuff.
Also, might be also a good time, maybe about, well, you can start earlier, but maybe about 3 months out. Also, maybe thinking about a teeth whitening like routine as well.
Ooh.
Again, just part of the overall looks package. You know, you got to think about everything. You're going to be smiling a lot. You're going to see a lot of photos. So just think about like incorporating that into your routine as well.
Oh, Chris, that's actually a very good point. I just got my teeth whitened. I got them whitened at a dentist. I remember I was looking on Groupon before, and they were cheaper, but like the places look kind of sketch. So I was like, let me just pay a little bit more and go to a dentist. And I will say, it is noticeable, but it's also very painful. Yeah, they like when you go there, the whole appointment was maybe an hour and a half total. And when you go there, they tell you that you should take Advil before you even step in to
Wow.
the actual appointment. And then for maybe the first, I want to say 2 days after, I was just popping Advils, every 4 or 5 hours because you just keep getting these like random sharp pains.
Interesting. I did not know that.
But fashion is pain. It is what it is.
I think also one thing I wanted to touch on, just going back a little bit to the diet, to talk about one thing. It could be hard for some people, but also a number one like weight loss kind of tool or lever to pull that's really easy to do, or should be easy to do, is to cut out alcohol. Because there's just like so many hidden calories in beer, and also slows your metabolism down overall. So cutting back or cutting it out for the time frame that you're trying to like lose a few pounds can be very beneficial. I've read some articles that like, just like removing alcohol from your diet within like 3 to 4 weeks, like so like a month time frame, that could be equivalent of just like 5 pounds just from eliminating that, depending on obviously your body composition.
Yeah, and that's a good point. One thing I will add is when you first make these changes to your diet, you will notice drastic improvements, or drastic dropping in weight, right? Just know a lot of that is because of inflammation. You're just getting rid of water weight.
Mm-hmm.
So as you keep going, the drastic reduction in weight won't be anywhere near as crazy as it was at first. Don't lose heart. You're still doing a good job. You'll just see a lot of, benefit of the scale initially. And then it just kind of tapers off and just kind of like, gradually declines.
Yeah. And also if you're doing this weight training that we talked about at the top of the episode, you're probably putting on muscle as well. So you're kind of trading some of that fat for muscle. And again, just putting, you're letting your body grow in different ways. So you're going to look a little different. And just know that, yeah, don't get discouraged by that number on the scale, right? Think more about like, how are my clothes fitting? How do I look in the clothes? Like that's a better measure than like just the straight number on the scale.
Mm-hmm. And then Chris, just one more thing I kind of want to bring up is your hair. Don't be afraid to like watch YouTube videos on how to style your hair. I know I was doing that, this week, just spending, hour and a half on how to style men's hair. So see if I'm doing the right thing. Or next time you get a haircut, just ask your barber. A lot of times they'll just do what you tell them. But if you're like, hey, like, should I do something different? What do you think? What do you think looks good for this hair? Just don't be afraid to ask. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and you can also try to experiment a little bit with some haircuts if you're doing this far enough in advance. You probably have you have to get your hair cut a couple different times. Like if you're out, obviously, so you can play around and maybe also try like, instead of just going to like a basic barber, you can try going to like a more professional place to get your hair cut and like styled in a certain way, so you can get like a more modern cut.
That, yes, it is expensive. Just be aware. There are services in, Chris, I know, especially in us in like Wicker, where you pay for like a style consultation and then a cut afterwards. And we're talking like $100 here for like this service. So just know it's out there. It will be expensive, but if you're doing it once and just take like good mental notes, totally might be worth it.
Absolutely. Anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up this episode?
Oh man, I'm sure I'm gonna remember when we close. But these are just kind of some things to think about as your wedding day comes in. And unfortunately, you are going to be stressed. So these are a lot of things that are easy to not do just because you're busy, or you're tired. Like not going to the gym because you're tired is the easiest decision you can make.
Mm-hmm.
But you are going to have to power through on that one.
I think that, again, just try to establish a routine. So even if you're tired, just say, I'm going for 15 minutes. I'm going to bike for 15 minutes. I'm going to do cardio for 15 minutes, or I'm going to weight train for 15 minutes. Just get in there. Any amount of time is better than nothing. And if you truly want to leave after 15 minutes, then do so. But more than likely, once you're there, you're going to feel a little bit more motivated to stay there and do the full 45 minutes or hour workout that you have planned.
Yeah, and every little bit counts. Every little bit adds up. Just, Chris, like you said, just because you only can do 15 minutes doesn't mean it's wasted. 15 minutes every day for 6 months, you will be surprised at what kind of gains even that a little bit will give you.
Exactly. All right. Anything else you want to touch on before we go?
Chris, no, I think we covered a good amount of bases on the fitness and hygiene. Yeah, definitely don't take this for granted. Definitely, put some time into it and kind of, it's your wedding. You want to look good. You want to look good as good as you can, and that is going to take some work, unfortunately, but it's definitely going to be worth it at the end.
Yeah. Try to give yourself 6 months to make those changes. Don't try to all cram it in within, 1 or 2 months. It's not going to work.
And that's another reason why short engagements, you have less time to work out. Just, think about that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Steve, great as always.
All right. Thanks, Chris. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.